All right, boys, we're here today at Locals with Zach. So how'd you do today? What deck you play? All that kind of stuff?
I did a little middle of the road. Just kind of lost to just getting sacked essentially. But overall, the deck's consistent. Last week I did very well. Got second place overall.
Yeah. So what'd you play? Let's hear what you played.
I played Cyberse Spright.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So why'd you choose this deck?
Well, I mean, I saw your video and I was thinking, well, it might have something to it. So I started playing around and I realized that there were some lines that were very important. I have a rule. I've played Spright for a while. I have a rule where every single Spright deck needs to have a way to discard an angler in hand. And I mean, you do that with Signet mining, so it increases the consistency of the deck. And if you can mining, pitch, angler, and they ash, it doesn't matter because it's still a full combo.
Now you saw the deck profile and combo video I posted, but you made some changes, so we can go through that. I think it's mostly with the hand trap lineup, but
yeah, I did try changing the deck. Tried to put Pixies in there because I love that card.
Yeah.
But overall, the core of the deck in the deck profile is essentially optimal.
That's fair. All right, let's go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and see this pile of amazing cards.
You got the 3 blue, of course, 3 jets, and you got the 2 red and 2 carrot.
So how'd you feel about 2 red, 2 carrot? I know some people are like iffy on it.
So every single time I thought about it, I was like, well, I mean, I could just play 1 less. It might increase consistency, or not increase consistency. I could increase the hand trap lineup. Overall, just try and just get more value out of the deck. But then I was thinking, well, I'm always not worrying about running out of carrots, running out of red, so I've been able to just special summon the red, link it off for a sprint or overlay, and not have to worry. Still know that I have one in deck and I can summon it back.
Yeah, the fact that they're extenders is just so great.
It makes them less negation focused and more extender focused, which increases the ceiling of the deck and the consistency overall. And I do think that 2 is the proper amount right now, specifically.
All right. So that's the Spright. That's the Spright monsters. So let's see what else.
Next, we got double Cyberse because, I mean, you gotta play that. Because this is the current format and it's very good, we're playing the 2 Melfies, Melfie, Caddy, and Penny. And then we got, of course, the 3 Beavers, rounding off the beasts. And one thing that I would like to note that I don't think was mentioned in your video, because it's a little bit more in depth, is if you open any of these 2, you should still go for the Melfie of the Forest, because you can search the other one, and then off of the Caddy, you just search a Beaver.
Right.
Or you can search the 2 Anglers, which, you know, they're bricks. After you do your combo, you don't really want to see this.
Right.
So if you need to, you can always search this, and then you have a normal for sure.
Yeah.
And then that's it for the combo monsters. Next we got the hand traps, which is 3 ash, 3 droll.
Droll in the main. Let's go. So how'd you feel about Droll in the main?
Never came up.
Never came up?
Just never came up. I never saw it. Never came up. Only time I saw it, it was a brick because I had 2, and I had 2 angler, penny, and smashers.
Why can't it just be a level 2? You know, normal summon Droll, special blue.
Exactly. Why can't there be a good level 2 hand trap?
And there was, but there's orange. There's all the lights, but they're bad.
Yeah. And then we got 3 Veiler. Veiler's very important. Came up multiple times. Very good card. Highly recommend. Especially if you're already playing Imperm. Very good card. It's just Imperm 2, essentially. So that's it for that.
And like the important part is like you can revive the Droll or the Veiler off the gadget.
I was thinking about just testing with that, and it really just depends on your hand. This is a hard deck. You gotta really sit down and just solitaire out your combos because everything is very dependent on hand and your opponent. Sometimes it's better to get the body on board. Sometimes it's better just to have the space. Sometimes it's just better to activate it, hoping to bait out an opponent's negation, because Cyberse Gadget is just when it leaves the field. So if they've got like a Baron on field, you can normal summon Gadget, target the Veiler, they negate destroy, activate Gadget engrave, special summon token, special blue, go off.
Yep, awesome. Dude, Gadget is so nice in this deck.
Yeah. Speaking of what's nice, the 3-starter.
3-starter.
And then 1 Smashers.
Yep.
Smashers is honestly, I might just take it out of the deck. It's a brick, more often than not. In a deck that's incredibly consistent and already puts up a ton of negations on the end board. Just the better card, far and above, is Double Cross.
That's fair. Yeah, it's like Smashes is like a nice card to search if you have the Double Cross in hand. But if you have Double Cross in hand already, you might as well just search the starter, just so you have plays for next turn.
And against the cash matchup, it's dead.
Really?
It's full dead. Yeah,
that's
because
fair.
you can't banish from grave. You'd have to banish from hand, and that's just bad.
That's just like a -2. Yeah.
It's just a -2, yeah. So Double Cross overall better because it can target either graves. You can bring back. You can. It's so versatile.
Dude, that's crazy.
I
I love this deck so much.
I
It's
heard
so
Change
cool.
of Heart was good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Next up, you got the 3 minings just to search.
Yeah, so my theory on the 3 mining, so with 3 mining, 3 beaver, 3 gadget, you have 8 normal summons. For a 40 card deck, that's actually the optimal number to run. So did you ever feel like you wanted the 3rd gadget or no?
Not really. I always saw gadget more than mining, but it's just a statistical anomaly. It never really happens. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Mining is a great card.
It is
If
so
anything,
great.
it can just bait out and negate, and it's not it's an activate once per turn. So again, if they have like Baron or something, you can
Totally.
activate. It gets negated. You just activate it again.
Yeah, I've been on the camp a long time that Signet Mining's discard cost is almost better than the ad sometimes because it can just do shit like that, like where you pitch a Sprite card, you reborn it with a gadget, you get to link a free for sprint, and you get a level 2 token. It's so crazy.
Exactly.
I love this card. It's so crazy. Alright.
And the next is Called By. It's a great card. I never saw it. I wish I had. I was playing Bell in here, but I switched out for Droll in the main. Only reason why I'm playing Called is because there needs to be a way to out the Gimmick Puppet.
That's fair.
Because if they target it in the grave and you banish it, it technically, like, I can't remember if it comes back, but even if it does come back, then it's negated anyways. So it's a way to out that. And I did lose a game because Gimmick Puppet is just a stupid card that needs to be on the ban list.
That's fair. It's kind of annoying. And I think you already talked about the last 3 cards are imperms, right?
Yep, last 3 are Imperm.
Yep.
Yep, great card. Reprint again, please, Konami. It's still $12 and it's had like what, 4 or 5 reprints?
I think, yeah. It's had like Original Secret, Ulti, Ultras, and the supers from the structure decks. Yeah, it's kind of cringe. Kinda cringe.
Yeah. Next up, you need to have these. These are very important. You need to have the 3 tokens.
I really want them to print a gadget token.
That'd be sick.
We don't have one yet, and it's kind of funny because there's been like 2 or 3 meta decks that actually use Cyberse gadget.
Also, we need a Cyberse gadget that isn't rare.
Yeah, dude. Why didn't we get an Ultra one and Ghost from the Past? It would have been the coolest thing.
It would have. Next is the extra deck.
So,
Yeah, Herald, because it's Herald.
It's almost better Toad, kinda.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll go into why Herald is just so much better, because the worst thing is that the stat line is so low, so it can just get beat. You can just beat over it. But Double Zeus,
Yep.
screw cash. Why do we have to play this? My least favorite thing was putting the second one in my cart. Next is Downer, just to make that Zeus extra chonky. You got Onibi Maru, comes up so much. It is such an incredible card. It's removal. It's just a big boy. It's 1900, which this deck needs. It needs bigger boys, and this is an easy way to do that. I personally think that a higher XYZ content for your extra deck is correct for Sprite, because there are just so many better XYZs out there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of great Link 2 monsters, especially for this deck.
Yeah. Ninja Mosquito. Last week, I won 2 games with this card.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Guy went, he was playing Cyber Dragons. He beefed up his Cyber Dragons twice. So I just made Ninja Mosquito. And then I killed him. I burned him to death. 8K to 0. Funniest way I ever won.
That's very funny.
Next is Melfi the Forest.
Such a good card.
It is so amazing.
So good.
Searches, but the negation it negates forever, so that's already fantastic. The monster also can attack.
Yep.
So when you make Herald, it just protects the Herald.
Yeah.
Like they normal summon, or they special summon Unicorn. You go Caddy, bounce back to hand, search, the search penny, special penny, go into, or no, and then you go penny, chain link 1, chorus, chain link 2 target, and then the rest is history. They can't.
And then everyone always forgets about the penny's second effect to attach to an XYZs. That comes up. That can come up a lot in this deck. Where if you want a second Zeus effect.
It can come up sometimes, but honestly, the only time it comes up, because I'm not playing Mannequin Cat.
Okay.
It just, in this deck specifically, and in this meta game where there's such a diverse amount of cards and types out there, you just can't reliably be able to special summon back a red or special summon back a blue or something you need, because you realistically only play 3 attributes and 2 of them only matter. That's the fire attribute for the reds and carrots and the dark attribute for the jets and blues. And it's just, if you were playing a wider variety of stuff, of the attributes, then it would be more worth it. But currently, I don't think it's the best way to play this deck. 2 gigantic. You need it. If I could play 3, I would. But it's honestly,
the extra deck is surprisingly tight because of Kashtira.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I more often than not don't make gigantic turn 1.
Really?
I just go, I go into sprint effect to get angler for the 2 beavers, overlay for Melfi.
That's still 3. That's still 4 interruptions.
That's still 4 interruptions, and then turn 2, after I cook my opponent, I just make 2 big boy gigantics, no TK.
That's fair.
Next I'm playing Avramax.
So I cut this from my list when I was testing it. I thought it was funny, but I found it came up too infrequently. What was your thought on it?
So it's not the best card. It's okay. It's not fantastic. I'm playing it because I want my extract to be more of a toolbox. I don't want to be hampered by just going IP into Unicorn.
Now, to be fair, IP into Avramax is really hard for some decks to out right now.
It is extremely difficult to out, except for Cash. They just go into Scare Cash and then they win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to make it so that IP actually is useful. Now, I'm barely going into IP.
Yeah, in this format, you just need options because you can run into anything. Like you said, you played against Cyber Dragons last week. It's weird to hear that. I mean, this is locals, but the format's so diverse that you need to be able to play around everything.
Yeah, but even still, I say that these 3 are the most cuttable.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next, we got Double Sprint, because it's a good card. It's a very good card. Would recommend. Again, if I could play 3, I probably would, but after turn 1, you're only using it for its bounce effect or to make gigantic big.
Yeah.
Is me. The last card, MVP.
Linger Evil, let's go!
This card actually shores up so many weaknesses of this deck, because you can just bring it back with
Double Cross.
A lot of your main lines are just normal gadget into Linger Evo into Sprint. But just bringing it back with Double Cross, they go battle, start a battle, Double Cross, bring back Linger Evo. They activate the only evenly they have, and
yeah, if
they
you
wasted
have
their battle phase, and it's so good. And against trap tricks, and this banishes. It banishes the trap. So if they go Hole of T, Linger Evo, it's banished. So they don't get the graveyard effect of Hole of T. They don't get the body. It's huge. It's such a good card.
It is so good. And if you have anything to revive off the gadget, you pitch something off mining to grab gadget, you just get to keep the Linger Evo. So you get 2 trap negates. You can either have 2 Omni negates with Arclight, or you can have 2 trap negates with Linger Evo, whichever you want more.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, just having the ability to out double evenly is huge in this deck.
Yeah.
Because the only way that you can realistically do that outside of this is Toad, and Toad is cool. I played that for a long time after Elf got banned. Toad is so bad in this deck. It felt so bad to play, but it also felt necessary. And now that we have the Melfis and Linger Evo in this deck specifically, you don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need Toad. You don't need to waste the extra deck space, because it takes 2 extra deck slots, whether or not you're playing the Marincess card to bring it back, whether you're playing
the Bujin card,
the Bujinki Ahashima, or you're playing Reproductus, which I think is the worst option out of all of them.
Right.
I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, and the fact that for Arclight and Melfi of the Forest, like it takes the same extra deck space, but it takes less main deck space.
Exactly.
It's so nice.
Exactly.
Because you only need the 2 Melfis, and like Melfis, since they're level 2s, you can normal summon them and it's fine. You know, it just feels so much better than the Toad, Frog, Pujinki stuff. It's so good.
And Bujinki's dead after that. Meanwhile, you still have Melfi of the Forest, which is an XYZ. You can go Gigantic if they go Ghost Spell, or if they try and Imperm, then you can chain.
It's an XYZ, so you can make Gigantic. It is it can search a beaver if you haven't gone through all your beavers for whatever reason, or if you put them back somehow. And then it's also just a negate whenever a Melfi returns to hand. It's so much better.
Yeah, if they go if you have Melfi of the Forest and you make it Gigantic and they go Imperm targeting, you can just Smashers, banish the Gigantic, and then detach from the Forest.
That's so crazy.
So there's
so much more you can do. It's such a good. This is so clean. I love this list. All right, let's see the side deck. So what was your tech choices for this format?
So this lost me the game. I still recommend it. It lost me a game because I saw all 3 of them against Cash. It was these 3 plus a Beaver plus a Carrot against a Rise Heart Pass.
Ooh, that's rough.
And it's just if you could tribute from hand on your turn as well as your opponent's, this would be such a better card. And it would have won me the game. But the fact that I drew all 3 just so bad. If one of them was an Imperm, different game.
Unlucky.
Red Resonator.
You gotta play it.
You need to.
You have to play it, yeah.
I went to time multiple times today, and it didn't come up, but it still is just a necessary card. While you do have Ninja Mosquito in the extra, you need to play this because it's just.
It's a win condition.
It's a win con, yeah.
It's a win condition.
And it gives you extra space because a good Cash player will banish Ninja Mosquito first thing.
Yeah.
So this gives you main deck slots that cannot just targeted banish.
Yeah.
Next is Duster and
the blowout.
Yeah, and 3 Cosmic.
How do you feel about Cosmic?
I love Cosmic. I've always loved Cosmic. Only time when Cosmic was worse was probably right before Pote format. Because you had stuff like Mathmech running around. Twin Twisters was so much better because you could pop that plus pop their back row, and they usually end on more than 1. So
how do you feel like this deck does against Labyrinth? Because I felt like this had a difficult Labyrinth matchup.
Labyrinth is stupid. I hate Labyrinth. I've always vehemently opposed Trap Trick. I feel like Trap Trick as a trap card is terribly designed because if it worked like Summon Limit where you could only activate before or after, but because it's just after, you just search any normal trap in the deck.
Phase, yeah.
Stupid. It's so dumb. But against Labyrinth, I feel like this deck is far better than the all-in Toad one.
That's fair.
Because your end board is often 4 monsters, but all of them, or 3 to 4 monsters, but all of them do something independently. So they have to choose what they get rid of because they're not going to have 3 combos.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So it's hard for them to chew through your end board. And because I hate the trap matchup so much, I'm also playing 3 evenly, just screw trap decks.
That's fair.
Evenly is a huge card right now.
It is so big.
I feel like it might get hit relatively soonish, but Konami also really loves their going second cards, so who knows?
Yeah.
I feel like it is probably the most represented staple card, maybe besides Ash.
Probably. People are main decking and siding it. It's just such a crazy card.
It's nuts. I don't know. And it's just good against everything. It's good against literally everything. Last week I went against Speedroid. Funny game, guy kind of bricked, but he went into it's the level 6 wind Stardust Warrior.
Right.
Stardust Charge Warrior to draw a card, and then he set 1. And I knew that he was playing Gravity Collapse or whatever it is it's called. It's a counter trap that when your opponent summons a monster, you can flip it, tribute a synchro to then basically end their turn. And I was like, I can't get blown out by that. So evenly off the top won me the game because he probably could have come back on the clapback.
Awesome.
But, next, pretty solemn. I hate evenly. Evenly so strong. This outs evenly. It also just, I went up against Trap Tricks player, went to Sarah, Solemn the Sarah. Turn ended.
Yep, pretty much.
And a pointer. It's basically a fourth Solemn.
Yeah. It's a pointer's weird. People play it, but it's
You just gotta be careful when you're playing this card that you A, have enough life points, and B, have a card in hand. Otherwise, you cannot legally activate this card.
So, is there anything you'd rather play in this deck than what you got? Or you feel like this is a pretty competent list?
I feel like this is the best list I can make. I feel
fair.
like this is the best list for Cyberse Spright that you can make. There's an argument for Nib over Lancia, and I understand that. I'm not a big fan of Nib.
Yeah.
I feel like Nib is so bad.
You lock yourself out of it half the time.
Yeah, you lock yourself out of it half the time. There's so many, every single deck, competitive deck plays around it. Like you've got a Rise Heart Pass, you've got Sprite that can just make gigantic, or can bring out a red on the 5th summon. You've got stuff like Dark World, which does not care. You've got Sword Soul, which just uses the token special summons anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think that Nib is a good choice. I think the only competitive deck that it hits reliably is probably
Branded.
No, because Branded just
Yeah,
usually
just
makes
Dragoon.
4 summons.
Yeah.
They make Dragoon or they just make 4 summons.
Yeah.
The only one that it makes reliably is probably Rika.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, awesome, bro. Do you have any shout outs, or?
I mean, of course, gotta shout out Immortal. Subscribe,
go.
like, this guy's great. But yeah, I highly recommend this deck, but it's extremely difficult. You've got so many different lines of play, so many different starters. Oftentimes you'll have multiple starters in hand, whether you go for Gadget or you go for normal summon, a 2 special summon blue, it's really hand dependent. This deck is hard, but I suggest picking it up because it's incredibly good.
It's incredibly fun. Like the test games I've done with this deck are so cool.
The amount of times I've gone mining, pitch a card, and they're like, what?
What? Why are you pitching? Why are you
I
playing?
saw blue last game. What's going on?
So cool. All right. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right.